Hi and welcome to the channel Southwood Designs. Today we're going to be making a floating picture frame from this timber, this piece of pine, and it's going to be floating around these frames here, these picture frames that are blank at the moment, stretch canvas. So we're going to run through the process pretty straightforward step by step, but for those that want to build these you'll be able to see how easy it is, so follow along. So apart from the timber, obviously we need a couple of tools, and there's a couple of ways that you can do this. And it depends on what you've got in your tool shop. There's a miter saw or a drop saw is great for cutting the 45-degree angles on the framework. And then this brad nailer that's going to be able to help me to join it together, that and some glue to be able to join together the edges of this floating frame. Pretty straightforward. There's a couple of other ways that you can do it in terms of cutting angles. You can even do it with a hand saw and one of those old-fashioned angle cutters or angle templates, if you like, or jigs, which I used to have one many years ago. But this just makes life a little easier, but it doesn't matter really. The odds are that you'll be able to do it with what you've got in your tool shop right now. So first things first, we need to measure what length of timber we need. These are already showing on the box what size they are, 12 inches by 6 inches or 30 by 40. And I'm just going to jot that down on here because we need to do 2 lengths of 40 and 2 lengths of 30. And also importantly, the height of these frames. So they are 18 mils or about 3/4 of an inch roughly. First thing to do is to set the miter saw or the drop saw at 45 degrees and then lock it in place. Always wait for the saw to finish and come to a complete stop before you grab the timber, just from a safety point of view. So when we're cutting this next section, we're going to add about 1/2 inch or about 12 mils, because what we need is just a gap around the edge, which will be 6 mils or 1/4 inch. So 1/2 inch around each edge is actually going to translate to 1/4 inch or 6 mils. So we add 12 mils onto the inside measurement length, which is 2 lots of 30 and 2 lots of 40 as we're cutting. The other thing too is important to make sure that you cut the right angle opposite to this angle here. Just double check, see how that goes. Beautiful. And then we're going to use this piece to measure the next one along. Again, just making sure you flip it the right way. We've got this angle this way, we want this other one to angle the other way. The other thing too, just go slightly over. You can always come back to the right length. Just go slightly more than what you need, and then you can just shave off a little bit just to be certain that you've got the right size. Okay, so we can see it's just down to that line. I'm just going to take a slight little bit off. That is spot on. So that's 14 on the inside, plus the extra. And then the other one, 30 mil. Plus the extra. Measure twice, cut once. Yep, we're good. Got the angle right, opposite to this one. Length of that, and that actually is spot on, perfect. So we're going to use these 40mm brad nails to put in the brad nailer, and apart from glue we're going to brad nail into the edges as well. Just want to run a test piece first to make sure that the depth is set correctly, because in this case we're using pine, you don't want it to go in too deep but also not too shallow. And that's actually perfect as it is. So if you've got one of these angle brackets that clamps angle pieces together, that'll be great. If not, you can actually hold it by hand like so, and only do that if you're comfortable being near. You want to make sure that your fingers are quite a way away from the brad nailer itself, and be confident. But these angle brackets, they're available on Amazon and at your local hardware store. They're actually quite useful. I'm going to use these just for safety's sake. Have a damp cloth ready, because any sort of squeeze out or whatever, or for any wipe up, damp cloth is ideal for that. So glue on both pieces here, or both ends rather, of this final piece. I'm just going to make sure I've got into the ends here and here. I'm just going to go into the ends here as well for consistency. Now I'll just check for square. I might just clamp this just for the final bit to make sure it stays together, just until this glue dries. Is that good? No, not quite. As I said, I've got quick drying glue on, quick drying glue on, and it won't take long to dry, but this is just to give it some encouragement. Can never have too many clamps. Do you hear that? You can never have too many clamps. Safety first, just about to take these nails out, but always remove a battery if it's cordless, or unplug it if it's powered, or take it off the compressor depending on what version you've got. Just important, because the last thing you need is, my finger was actually on the trigger then, the last thing you need is for this to go off while you're changing nails or whatever. and would have been useful to put this on. Never mind, better late than never. It's only dust. Now the other thing, I just want to do 4 corner braces, so I'm just going to cut angles that way so that these can sit in the corner. I'm just going to use this same timber. So, let me tell you a very valuable lesson. Have a look at this. This is quite clearly, oh, sorry about the wobble, 30 by 40 centimetres. So I added 1 centimetre on to the 30 and 1 centimetre on to the 40 to make 41 by 31. Which, you know, you'd think, yeah, that's pretty good, that should work. And then when it came to fitting the frame, yep, goes in that way. Hang on a minute, what's all this then? So the problem is, the actual frame is not 31 by 40, sorry, 30 by 40, it's 41 centimetres by 30.5 centimetres. And I just went off the label instead of measuring the frame. So a real trap for young players is measure the frame and not go off the label. And what I've had to do is make a second one that's a little bigger, that's going to hit the right sides, and it's going to fit nicely. So let's just drop this one in here. There you go. Floating frame goes in there nicely. The original one where I went off the label, nah, not going to work. That's the Southwood Designs hint for the day. Oh, and there's one more thing too. When you're cutting, make sure you cut the right angle. So instead of cutting this way, I started cutting like this, which is fine because I can make a knot frame going this way. That's no issue. But still, you know, just concentrate on what you're doing and you won't have to measure 3 times and cut 4 times. Anyway, that's good. Frame for the next one. Not a problem. That'll actually fit this. That'll actually fit this quite nicely. So I might well just put this together anyway. 2 hints from Southwood Designs. So one thing also to watch, and I didn't mention that before, is when you're gluing end grain to end grain, like I've done here, it really sucks up the glue. You've got to load the glue up, but this is end grain to side grain, not quite so bad. But still, the end grain itself really loves to chew up the glue. So you've got to put a bit extra on just to make sure that it's going to hold nicely. Again, this is quick setting, this particular one. Oops. So I just measured in 17 mils, 1.7 centimetres on each corner. There we go, leave that for a bit to dry and then good as gold. This Timbermate is actually quite good, non-shrinking. It comes in different colours or different finishes. Interior grade, non-acrylic, water-based. Dries pretty quick, and you can sand it and finish it, paint it, stain it, lacquers and so on. Can be drilled and so on. It's actually really versatile. And if you find it gets a bit dry, you just add a bit of water just to you know, loosen it up again and soften it up. Really good. I've got 4 different colours. I'll just grab them and show you. There's a ton of different colours you can get, but there's cedar just here, which I use a fair bit. Walnut also. Oak is another one that's fairly well used. Pine probably a little less so, but those 4, there's about a dozen in this range. Timbermate wood filler, or your particular brand, depending on wherever you are, whether it's in the States or UK and so on. This is in Australia. These are from Bunnings. Really effective. Earl's Timbermate wood filler. Highly recommended. And not sponsored, by the way. So there you have it, the finished product. A little bit raw, but these bits are going to be underneath. I've put holes in here so that you can screw through from underneath the frame to go into the back of the canvas, which is good. But this sits together nicely. And now this is a pack of 2. I'm not going to open them because this belongs to my sister-in-law. But I'm just going to sit this in, and you'll see if we just centre it, you'll see that it's got a nice gap around the edge. And when it's screwed into place from underneath, and then you'll see too, this just sits right to the edge, just there. So nice floating frame. I think she'll be happy with that. Let's just flip it around this way because that's the way it should go. So nice floating frame, sits very nicely, and easy enough to make. You know, probably 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes, something like that. There you go. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure you like and subscribe, and come back and have a look at some more. And thanks again for watching. Cheers.